Dr. Tayakorn Chandrangsu. He is actually very well-known people. He is the Director of Railway Safety and Maintenance Standard Division, Department of Rail Transport, and today he will give us some information about the future of rolling stock. Please welcome Dr. Tayakorn.
Thank you. Well, I only have 20 minutes because the moderator told me that's lunch waiting. So we don't want to be the last one to get out from this room, right? So basically, my slides, a lot of my talking will be on the standard that we did for rolling stock. Because in terms of understanding what the future of rolling stock will be, you have to understand what standard in our country that we're going to use. But first of all, I will skip this part because I have little time. So basically, that's all what I'm going to cover. Some people might not know DRT yet, especially foreigner. We are very new, only 4 years here. But the railway network's already been there for 100 years. So there's no regulator, basically, for the railway network in Thailand. That's why we need DRT, to make a minimum requirement standard for everything, for the infrastructure, for the rolling stocks, for the signaling and electrification, and to make the policy for our railway system in Thailand. So basically all the, all the regulator with different mode. Now we have everything. We have a water regulator, we have a air regulator, we have rail regulator at the moment. So, and we have the operator. We have lots of operator at the moment in Thailand. Before we might know only like HRT, BTS, BEM. Now we begin to have a lot of operator at the moment, as you can see here. So basically our organization in DRT, we have the General Director, and this morning the Deputy General Director just talked about the HSR system in Thailand. And we have another 5 divisions. My division would be the Safety and Maintenance Standard Division that I'm going to talk about today, which will be doing some of this mission. Basically, DRT has the right to do the railway network development. We have the right to do the standardization of the railway in Thailand. We can do the regulation, which is the ongoing railway, the new railway acts, which will be open up for, for new operator to get licenses to be in terms of commercial in railway system in Thailand. And we can do the economic investment to set the appropriate railway fare and fee for the railway system in Thailand. And we can do evaluation. We can check and mitigate issues on railways such as accident in railway crossing. So our vision, we would like to be an organization that's regulating rail transportation system in order to raise the level of safety and service quality at the international level. When I say international level, it's not European, it's not Japanese, it's not Chinese, or it's not any major country, but we look in every country that has a rail network. And we come up with our own, with the minimum safety requirement, with the minimum standards requirement. So those are the objectives, the 6 objectives, which I'm not going to cover. So basically, for the policy itself, because before we don't have anything on rolling stock standards, right? So basically, what we do is we just do the procurement of the rolling stock. It's up to the operator to choose. They can put the TOR anywhere they like. So that's all the laws, basically from 1921, 1951, 2000. And now we're doing the Railway Acts, which gonna be putting a minimum requirement standard for when you want to do the procurement for the rolling stock. What safety do you have? You got to have. What quality of rolling stock you got to have. So basically, that's a summary of the draft Railway Act, which used to be in the parliament. Now we have the new government, so we're gonna put it back into the parliament and then see what's going on. And hopefully within 1 year, we would have this act. And then once we have the act, we can impose the minimum requirement standard for all the rolling stock in Thailand. So. And as you can see, there's different power that give us to regulate the rail system, such as the train registration, such as the staff quality, qualification, and the rail transport inspector, basically. So basically, we imposed the standard in 5 aspects. First one is the traffic management and service safety. For example, train driver license, train driver certification, and the certificate of the carriage of dangerous goods by rail. Another one would be the train operation safety. So like the OCC, the signaling, the communication, the electrification. Third one, which is the main objective of today, it's a rolling stock safety. So for example, passenger train safety and freight train safety. The next one is infrastructure safety. So the rail itself, the train station safety. And the last one, we think about environment. In terms of environment, because it impacts people along the railway lines, such as noise, air, pollution, stuff like that. We can look into it. And we have the draft standard for that already. So about rolling stock, currently we have 4 standards that's already been published. First one is the BCF. The first speaker already talked about that and used our standard to do the testing for the static testing and continue on with the dynamic testing. The next one is the one that I'm going to focus on today talk. It's the recommended general standard for rolling stock. We work with a professor from the university. He's sitting in the back there, over there. Oh, okay. He's worked with us and then come up with this standard. And the next one is the structural requirement of bogie container flat wagons. And the newest one, because we have the problem with the feeling of the passenger, because they feel very hot inside the train. That's why we come up with these standards. So let's move on to the one that's going to be the future of rolling stock in Thailand. So basically, we want to set standard and recommend characteristics of rail transport vehicle. So this standard cover all the locomotive, DMU, DEMU, freight wagons, electric multiple units, as well as high-speed train, tram, monorail, and APM. So basically, in our study, we look in different components, and we do some risk analysis, and we found that in Thailand, we have about 19 crucial components of rail vehicle that we have to look for, that we have to regulate, right? So basically, those are all the examples, like power generation system, brake system, dimension itself, operation of the driver cabin interface between driver and the train control, running behavior, aerodynamics, internal combustion engine, steam engines, air system, door and windows, safety equipment requirement, ventilation and air cooling system, toilet system, action plan under accident like SOP stuff. That's very important. And then performance testing of the rail transport vehicle itself, and the EMC. Currently, we're doing the drafting of the new EMC standard for Thailand as well, both for the vehicle itself and the whole system. And the other one is the classification of the transport vehicle. We have to classify the risk of different type of train. The bogie itself, the wheel set, the suspension system, the coupling system, the vehicle structure, and the crash worthiness stuff, and the fire safety system. So I'm not going to go into detail, so I'm just going to pass it quickly and then point out some important stuff. The first one dimension is the loading gauge, because we, in intercity, we already choose the policy to use the height of the platform to be 1.1 meter, as to have the same level for the rolling stock floor with the platform itself, so people don't have to climb up when they want to get on the train. So this is very important. You have to think about the loading gauge, structure gauge, in order to design the loading stock. And the vehicle interior itself, the dimension, that's part of the riding comfort as well, and the safety requirement as well. Because when you want to exit the vehicle, you need some space. And next one is the safety in crash events. I'm just gonna, for the crash worthiness, we're just gonna come out with a new standard in Thailand for the crash worthiness as well. So when you want to choose the loading stock, you probably want to look into that standard for crash worthiness. And car body structure, gangway, coupler and buffer gear, door and windows requirement, such as door, window, emergency door requirement. Oops. Bogie wheel, set wheel, and suspension system. We refer to other international standard for that as well. And the running behavior and aerodynamic stuff. The brake system, different brake system for different type of rolling stock requirement that you got to have in your rolling stocks for safety. The operation between the driver cabin, interface between the driver and the train control system, or the emergency equipment required inside the rolling stock is imposed in these standards. So, the fire safety, the way you test the material, it's already included in these standards. Next one is the SOP stuff. So once the project nearly finished, right now, every project that's nearly finished, the DRT go in and then inspect all the SOP. We inspect the report from the ICE to make sure that it's up to the standards. The air system of the rolling stock itself, that we sometimes found a lot of problem with that. The classification, this one we use for when there's a problem occur with the car body itself, or there's a crash, we can identify everything in there from just one plate on the train. But now the policy of the DRT, we might not have a plate. We might just have the laser tagging thing on the rolling stock just to save money. We're trying to be a digital organization, so we think everything digitally at the moment. So. But the way we're doing it is more like a European numbering style. So. The next one is the power generation system and component we have to look at carefully. Ventilation and air conditioner system. Toilet system for accessibility and other equipment required in the toilet system. And the EMC. And safety device, such as the communication system between passenger car, the horn, the audible alarm, indicator lights, the emergency stop button, the lighting system and sign, the emergency exit signal light, the radio communication system between vehicle and ground, the speed recorder, just like a black box inside the rolling stock. Those are all the safety requirements that we put in. And in the future, we will be imposing this on every rolling stock in Thailand. So. Performance testing, all the type of requirement for testing, static testing, dynamic testing for rolling stocks. So those are just the plan of the intercity rail. So as you can see, they have a plan of acquiring a lot more of rolling stock. As you can see, every year they have a plan, 100 cars, 148 cars, 200 cars. different type of rolling stock, such as diesel electric locomotive. As you can see, we're trying to move from hybrid into electrical power generator rolling stocks. So that's all the trend. And then 2 years ago, we have a policy on EV on train because the EV trend is coming. So we did some study on the EV on train, and we worked with the university and the private company, and come up with the prototype testing. As in the new, you can see that. We plan to use this in the Krungthep Aphiwat Central Terminal, just to make sure that there's no pollution inside the station. So those are just the details. So the next one is we call it a Thai Mech Train project, or the new nickname is the Beyond Horizons. It's a passenger coach and trying to get the local content up to 40% and maybe more in the future. And those are just the new way of thinking of doing the rolling stock in Thailand. We're trying to use as much as possible for the local content. So basically, those are the future of the rolling stock that I'm talking about today. I hope you enjoy the presentation, and if you have any question and answer, I'd be happy to answer any. So, thank you.
Any question from the audience, please? Oh, everybody hungry, I know. So,
Sure. There's one over there, I think.
Thank you very much for your great presentation. I'm Krisada from PTT. There are many standards that you already mentioned. Really wonder that how big of your team that can you do that, right? But one question is related about the hydrogen. So I heard that State of Railway really interested on to use a fuel cell in the train. So any plan of this?
That's right. Well, I forgot to mention that the new kind of the trend in the world, we're trying to use clean and renewable energy. So the trend is to use electricity with the rolling stock. But the way the energy of the electricity to come, it has to be clean, it has to be renewable. So it shouldn't be from the coal's power infrastructure. It has to be like wind, solar, and stuff like that. One of the issue that we look into is the hydrogen power as well. But for the hydrogen power, a lot of, I can say that a lot of organizations in Thailand at the moment, the research organization, such as RTRDA and other like NSTDA, they look in terms of hydrogen energy as well. But as far as I know, for the hydrogen energy, you still need a battery to collect all the power anyway. And to store the hydrogen, there's got to be a safety requirement, a lot of safety requirement. So we look into that, and that probably be the future kind of way of power our rolling stock. So, all right.
So, any questions? No? Really? Okay, good.
Just in time.
Oh, very good. So, Dr. Tayakorn,